You killed them. On Halloween.
Yeah, okay. Halloween, yeah. Some dude, some bitch, whatever, man.
Victims. Aren't we all?
So welcome to the Prison Wallets, a love story to movies podcast, hosted by myself, Ray, as well as...
Hi, I'm Keith. So today we're going to do the all-time classic, The Crow. We're of course going to do it as a commentary track, but feel free to just listen to it like a podcast, because we're just going to talk about the fucking Crow, and it's The Crow, man. You probably want to hear that.
I think the good thing about how we do our podcasts is that you can listen to it either as a straight podcast and it still works, or you can listen to it along with the movie, which is generally, I guess, what we try to aim for. So this is the 20th anniversary edition of The Crow. This particular version came out in 2015, so the original came out in 1994. So I guess let's just kind of get right into it.
All right, we'll do 3, 2, 1 and play the movie. So 3, 2, 1, play. So I think the origins of this in particular was it like our third episode where we did talked about collecting VHS tapes, and one of them was The Crow, and we basically just blew the dick and balls of this movie like crazy and how awesome it was. And we talked about it so much that I went and got the soundtrack, and I listened to that again and just thought about how much I love that. And after all this fucking love for The Crow, it's like, well, why don't we I guess we'll just watch it, right? I guess we'll just watch the fucking Crow.
Yeah, I mean, just like every other movie that we review, we try to stick to cult favorites or horror. We kind of lean towards horror, but I mean, cult favorites are cult favorites, right? Like,
and this really is perfect. Like, what year did you say this came out? 94?
94, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I was like 15. There could not be a better movie for me to be 15 and to see.
Agreed.
It's like so cool.
I picked this Blu-ray up a few years ago, actually, and I haven't watched it because I caught it on Netflix a little while ago anyway, and the transfer was basically, I guess, your standard DVD transfer, so it was okay, but the dialogue and stuff kind of didn't hold up for me a little bit as well as some other movies might, but so far, man, this is...
Just got some cats fucking frolicking.
Yeah, this transfer so far looks pretty amazing.
And visually, yeah, this movie, I mean, holy shit. This guy, Alex Proyas, I think his name is?
Yeah.
He's Australian, if I remember right. The only other movie of his that I've seen for sure is Dark City, but that's another movie I've been meaning to watch again, because, like, again, just visually, like, fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he's done besides that, and like I don't remember the plot of Dark City. I just remember it looked wicked. And same thing with this, it looks awesome.
Yeah, the guy's visual style is definitely really up there for me. I mean, for what he does, it's interesting that he isn't attached to a lot more current stuff. Like maybe a comic book movie, and much like this, I guess.
Yeah, or like if I was going to hire somebody, to direct the first episode of like a series on TV, set the tone. Like, this is the tone I would want. But also, I think one reason why this works for me so well, I mean, I just love the 90s. The extra saturated colors of the 90s. Like, man, what's that video? Natural One by Folk Implosion, if you ever look that up. It's the most 90s video you'll ever see in your life, and it is this kind of stuff. Like the reds are really red and the colors are just really vibrant, and that's the thing too, is like, to me, when someone says like a movie looks like a music video, again, if you hear noises, it's just cats. Fucking crazy ass cats are excited about The Crow. When someone says a movie looks like a music video, I don't take that as an insult. I think that's what you should try to do. If your movie looks like a music video, you did it, man. You nailed it.
Yeah, like, can you imagine a movie directed by Floria Sigismondi, the Canadian lady who directed Tourniquet and the Beautiful People by Marilyn Manson?
Yeah,
Like, that would be amazing.
I really think she single-handedly had like a huge impact on the 90s aesthetic. Like after Beautiful People came out, everybody was doing the jittery camera and all that shit, and like, yeah, that was all her.
Yeah, the jittery camera, and you even see it a little bit in
The focus pulls and all the weird stuff.
you see that in a lot too, noticeably in the direction for the Texas Chainsaw remake at the very beginning of it. Like, it had that feel to it.
So yeah, speaking of, we were talking how the last movie we watched, which was Reanimator, has sort of almost like a film noir sort of thing going on. This movie does too, in just like the style. Like, this is one of those, like, it's always nighttime, it's always kind of rainy. It could almost be a black and white movie. It's like black and white and red, you know?
I don't know why. I mean, Logan did this last year. They did the film noir thing so well that they actually included a black and white version of the movie when you bought it on Blu-ray. I would really like to see this movie in black and white as well. Like,
Yeah.
I think it would just be amazing.
I did it once just on the TV, like in my old roommate's TV. I just like turned down the color, turned up the contrast, not all the way, but you know, enough. And yeah, it looks awesome. But there are parts, especially like that early part had a lot of reds, but now as we get into Eric Draven coming back to life, like this early part of this movie, I mean, look at this. There's no color in that shot. You know, it basically is black and white.
But look at how crystal clear this Blu-ray transfer ended up.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen it so, I guess, again, like, clear. Like, I've never seen it so amazingly flawless. Like, there's no grain, there's no grit to it. The only grit is in the filmmaking itself.
Yeah, and this is cool too, because I guess, like, as we talked about earlier, fucking trying to calm down these cats. Is the problem with doing a commentary track, you know? If we were just doing a normal podcast, we could just edit around the fucking cats. But again, it's like, it's part of the ambiance, it's part of the charm. What was I saying? Oh, so earlier when we did our earlier podcast, how I only saw this in the theater once, but you saw it on VHS, right?
Right, yeah.
So yeah, you came in the gates with just the VHS version.
Exactly. And I watched it, though, multiple times. Like, I saw this movie literally at least a minimum of 50 times the summer that it came out on VHS.
Yeah, this was one of those movies with like, I don't know, every decade there's like one movie where I just know all the dialogue, you know, like in the 80s it was the Transformers cartoon movie, in the 90s it was The Crow, in the 2000s probably fucking, I don't know, like Children of Men, but just like movies that I just watched so fucking many times. Because I was surprised when I rewatched this. I'm like, God damn it, I fucking remember all of this. It's ridiculous. Like,
Yeah, it's almost like paint by numbers at this point. Like, you've seen it so many times, you know exactly how every shot is going to look, how every bit of dialogue is going to be spit out.
and yeah, I guess it takes on too that extra nostalgia thing of not only the 90s, but when we were teenagers too. And like, yeah, like it's hard for me to even see the problems. You know, like to me, it's just like so good.
I really like going towards the dialogue and the characters. I really like the dynamic that the girl Sarah and Officer Albrecht, who is played by what the fuck is that guy's name? Who played Winston Zebmore?
Yeah, fucking Walking Against the Wind. Man, I hate that shit.
Yeah. Anyway, I really like the dynamic that they have in this movie. Like, they're almost genuinely friends.
And this guy T-Bird, he was the dude in the Warriors. Warriors, come out and play.
Yeah, he was the guy who killed the guy at the beginning, who's trying to get them all to mobilize and act as one instead of separate gangs.
Right. Yeah.
And I didn't know that until very recently, actually, that it was the same guy.
Yeah, the other guy in the Warriors is Dexter's dad from Dexter. Was one of the dudes in the Warriors. It's just weird. That's a cool movie too, but it's for another time. Fucking
So Eric Draven crawling out of the grave. He's wearing his death clothes, and there is a crow who is overwatching his emergence from the ground, as he is obviously in a lot of physical pain due to likely the atrophy and such that would come along with being in the ground for so long, and now everything is trying to work again.
I think too, this is totally a movie that would be easy to, it'd be easy to make fun of. If I were older when this came out, if I was, I don't know, like a dicky 30-year-old who just wanted to make fun of teens, like it does seem so, it's like the ultimate emo movie. It's just like your girlfriend got killed, you've come back from the dead, you're dressed all cool in black, you're a cool rock musician, and you're gonna avenge her. It's like,
this was the very beginning. This movie, I believe, was the very beginning of emo and goth. Back when we were
goth.
kids, like especially goth. Yeah, like I mean, it was this followed very closely behind by Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson.
And I think too, like the thing that makes it not seem silly to me, or not contrived, or not overwrought, it's similar to what we were saying about Reanimator, is that most great movies are a little like more real than real, a little hyper real, and they're not supposed to be realistic necessarily. And this movie especially, like, it's like a poem or something, like more so than it is just a straight story that you're supposed to follow. Because I don't know, so a crow brought him back to life, I don't know what that's all about. I don't know why that happens. Who gives a shit? That's not the point. You're not supposed to take it literally, like he's a superhero with a crow helper. That's not what it is.
The point is, this guy is coming back from the dead to right wrongs that happened.
And you can really feel that in the comic. Like, the comic was a lot more disjointed and all over the place, but the comic was, the dude's girlfriend died, and he's wrote this comic to try to get past his grief, and you can feel it like crazy in the comic. So I think they just took that feeling and that tone and kind of pulled it together into more of an action movie plot. Like, this is, I guess, when you get down to it, just a revenge kung fu movie kind of, but with all these cool elements.
The way I found as well, when they were filming the attack on Eric Draven and Shelley Webster, was done in a very hyper stylized way. It was very much was filmed as a victim would actually see things. Like, you're seeing flashes of things, you're trying to focus on a million different things at once, and it's doing that on film, which is something that isn't done very well typically when someone tries to do it, but in this it really works, like, in spades.
Yeah, I really think of like that thing, that saying of just like, you can't fake cool, you are cool or you aren't cool. And I'd say like Alex Proyas and Brandon Lee are cool. It's a cool director, it's a cool actor, and you can't fake it, you can't buy it, you just gotta hope it happens, and it fucking happens in this movie.
And I mean, to touch on Brandon Lee for a minute, I was never really a huge Brandon Lee guy. I was never a huge Bruce Lee guy. I do like both.
Right.
However, it seems almost like a little bit of a sin that I only really discovered these people on their way out. Bruce Lee I discovered years later. Obviously, he was dead before I was old enough to even be a fan. But with Brandon Lee is much like Kurt Cobain. They both died very, very close together. Like, the same year, I believe. Yeah, they both died in 94. They died like months apart. And I was a big fan of The Crow, and I was a big fan of Nirvana. And then these deaths happened so close together. And I'm not going to go into that. I think this movie is to be remembered because of the death of this guy. I don't think that's why this movie should be remembered. I think this movie should be remembered on its own merits. The direction, the character acting, the storyline, everything, the special effects, the feel, the scenery, just everything that goes along with it. It just so happens that Brandon Lee died while making this movie, which again was a tragedy, but it's not why this movie is important, and it's not why it should be remembered.
It's weird too. Like, this is, I don't know, kind of a weird thing to say. This could be something that could be taken the wrong way. But now that, like, at the time when this movie came out, Brandon Lee's death was obviously a huge part of it and just a part of the story of this movie. But now that it's been 20 years, I think of it more the other way of, like, Brandon Lee's death kind of protected this movie. It, like, sealed it in amber, and, like, they made a bunch of Crow sequels, and they can make as many as they want. It doesn't matter. This one's never gonna be touched, you know, because it's weird to read about later, like, how he had a 3-movie deal. Those weird Crow sequels, he would have been in them. I mean, they would have been different, but they would have sucked shit, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I
Like,
saw one of them.
it's horrible that he died, but because of his death, this movie never is untouchable. Like, it just,
The movie ends up being as immortal as the Eric Draven character.
yeah, and that's the other thing too. Like, you were saying how you weren't like a big Brandon Lee fan before this, and yeah, I don't really think anybody was, because this was like a dude leveling up, you know, of just like, he was a guy, he was doing okay, and he was in some stuff, and he was Bruce Lee's kid, but he was nowhere near breaking out of that shadow. And then all of a sudden, he's like a whole different level.
Now, don't misunderstand. My saying I wasn't a huge fan doesn't mean I wasn't a fan.
Right.
I had seen things that he was in before this. Like, I saw Showdown in Little Tokyo that he did with Dolph Lundgren, which I really love. That was a great movie. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. Also, I saw that movie he did with Powers Booth.
I don't know, but man, Powers Booth is a good name, though, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good movie as well. He played a...
Ernie Hudson, by the way, is the cop.
Right.
Just to jump back to that just hit me.
He played a student, and people were coming after him for something, and, you know, he fights his way through the movie and ends up, you know, I don't remember if he killed Powers Booth or not, but it was such a good movie as well. And I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but he was also in a movie called Laser Mission, which I admittedly never saw. But I saw 2 or 3 movies with Brandon Lee before seeing The Crow, so I was aware of who he was. I was aware of his lineage and what experience he had before he came into this. So I wasn't coming into this movie going, oh, this movie's going to be so great because it's Brandon Lee. I was coming into this movie going, man, the commercials for this movie are fucking stellar.
Yeah.
The use of the My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult song After the Flesh was beyond insane. Like, it made you, as a 15, 16-year-old kid, need to see this movie. It wasn't a want, it was a need. You had to go see this.
Yeah, I remember too, I had that extra like comic shop connection. I wasn't working at the comic shop yet, but I'd gotten into comics, and yeah, like the comic of The Crow doesn't stick with me like the movie does, but I read it and I knew about it. And then we'd get stuff just like promotional, like trading cards and stuff would come through the comic shop, and you just see, yeah, like still shots from this movie, and it's just like, man, it just, yeah, it's like that's what's interesting too with this character of The Crow, of how much I think Brandon Lee nailed it, is it'd be easy to play this character like, I don't know, like how everybody fucking else played it, like how Edward Furlong played it, you know, it was just a dour thing, where Brandon Lee's like charisma still comes through, even though he's the saddest man in the world, you know, the resurrected revenge dark-haired goth king, but he just does it. It's so good.
The movie I was trying to think of, by the way, was Rapid Fire, and it was a really good movie.
Cool. I love these villains too. Now we got what is his name? I forget this one's name. I used to know all their names.
Which one? That guy?
Yeah, the black dude.
Oh, fuck.
Tintin. Nice. I would not have remembered that. But yeah, I love to, even the bad guys. That's one of those cases where if you think about the bad guys side of this story too much, again, it's more like a metaphor, or like a weird poem, because who are these guys that are all very different from each other, but all just hang out and drink and have fun and shoot off guns and occasionally rape and murder people? Like, it's not very realistic. But again, it's never daytime in this city. Like, this isn't supposed to be real.
So this character for Brandon Lee is unlike any character that he had done before this, in that every other character that I saw him portraying in a movie had like short hair, like well manicured, very straight laced looking dude, clean cut, like all that stuff. And in this movie, he's a dead rock star wannabe. He didn't go anywhere with his rock career before he became essentially the undead Avenger that he ends up being in this movie.
I actually love that too, that like on the surface that he's like a rock star seems cheesy, but I like that they did that, because like, why not? It's a job people have, it's a thing people do, and they do kind of insinuate that he wasn't great at it. Even when they play his band a little bit, it can't rain all the time, kind of sucks. I like that. It's like, he still had a happy life, and he had a happy thing going on with his girlfriend. He doesn't have to be a successful rock guy. He's just a scenester. He just wanted to be cool and look cool, and and he is cool.
I'd like to know where he gets the makeup though, because I can't, I love clowns. From a personal standpoint, I'm a big fan of clowns. Evil clowns, normal clowns, doesn't matter. And I can't wear the makeup because for whatever reason I put that shit on, I start sweating. So, and it like melts off of me essentially. So, but his makeup stays intact the whole fucking movie.
It's one of his crow powers, man. I love this fight too. So we just had the crow like walking toward Tintin with the flaming barrel, which again, where are these flaming barrels in real life? I've never seen that in real life, but walking through the fire that makes him kind of wavy.
I like that punch too that Tintin throws him, and he catches him in the jaw with it, and like he goes almost slack-jawed, but he looks like maniacal for a moment.
Yeah, it was almost like it broke his neck, but he doesn't care, type of thing. And even just like, what you all painted up for, crackhead? Like, there's so many just awesome lines. And I just love the fucking victims aren't we all before he stabs the guy. That's just one of those phrases that just has come into my head ever since I saw this movie. Whenever you hear somebody complaining about their life or whining about some shit that doesn't matter, it's like, victims aren't we all? What do you want me to fucking say about it?
And he's gonna spit on him in a second, and
even just, like, do you remember this person you killed? And he's just like, some dude, bitch, some fucking who cares?
Yeah.
Just awesome.
And, he catches him off guard and, beats him with a pipe a little bit and whatever. Just stylistically, it's so... I know we use the term well done a lot, but this movie overall, I've seen it so many fucking times.
I love his delivery there, too. It's almost like a Whoopi Goldberg delivery of like, let me tell you about murder. It's fun. It's easy.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, this is again, oh man, I can totally see how people could think this movie is silly. Now he's like, oh, I'm the knife master and I never miss with my knives. But I don't know, I guess this kind of, oh, here it comes. Yeah, stab that fuck. I guess it kind of reminds me of, I kind of have this theory about music too, of when I think about bands like Guns N' Roses later on, when they started writing the crazy long songs, and like Smashing Pumpkins, like people that are kind of douchebags, but you kind of gotta be a douchebag. You kind of gotta be full of yourself to do something great. Because if you don't believe in yourself more than you should, you're not gonna write a 10-minute song, and you're not gonna make The Crow. You kind of gotta be a bit of a dickbag to make something awesome.
There are exceptions. There are rockers that didn't have the crazy ego, and they're just who they are. Dave Grohl is a great example. He is, in my opinion, aside from Trent Reznor, easily the most important person in rock music in the last 20 years. And any interview you ever hear the guy, any behind-the-scenes stuff you ever see, is just him being a genuinely nice fucking guy.
But I wonder, if Dave Grohl was a bit more annoying, would he write something because he does just do, here's an album, here's a bunch of songs, you know? He never does like, here's a rock opera, or here's a fucking 30-minute song. Like, he never does anything super weird.
He hasn't gotten to that point yet in his career. I mean, not that it's all him, but I see it happening eventually.
And most of the time, I mean, don't get me wrong too, most of the time that type of self-indulgent stuff is terrible. But sometimes it's great.
But I mean, really think about it. Since he went on his own, look at the achievements he's done. He's got several albums out with the Foo Fighters. Each of them have multiple hits that have, you know, charted or whatever, done really well. He's written, directed, and produced a documentary. No, more than one. A couple of them, actually. And then on top of that, he's also been part of bands like Probot.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up Probot. I only heard that album like last year. It's fucking awesome.
There's so great.
A ton of good songs on that.
Probot, he did the Songs of the Deaf album with Queens of the Stone Age, which is their best album. You know, like...
Yeah, I guess that's true. When you look at the overall, like, breadth of the stuff he's done. It's
maybe
like,
he doesn't need to do a rock opera because he's already fucking done everything else. And Michael Wincott's a good actor. I mean, he's
I was
been
going to
in a
say,
lot
too,
of shit.
Tintin, wasn't he... I think he was in Hackers, if I remember right.
I think so.
But I always find that weird when you get these actors that are only in one or two things and they never really... I mean, they're probably in 100 things, but I've only seen them in one or two things. But speaking of that, I wanted to bring this up too. It's like a different side of this being someone's last movie is this girl that plays Sarah. I read an article about her once because she nails it. Like, everybody agrees she was great in this movie, like just a super talented kid actor. But she never did another movie ever again. And it's just one of those things where she just didn't want to be an actor, you know? She just like kind of pretty quickly fell into Hollywood, like hanging out with people doing drug stuff, and then it was just like, this whole scene is bad for me, and just went on to a normal life.
Yeah.
And that's just so interesting because she was so good. And that's just not what people do, you know? When people get that taste of success and fame, they don't fucking let go. And I just think that's so interesting that sometimes they do. Sometimes they're just like, no, man, I don't want to do this. Fuck this. But it's a shame because she really is great in this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this movie is just... I mean, it's full of amazing characters and actors.
Yeah, so even this dude, fucking Gideon, the pawn shop guy, like, he's just... I guess he doesn't have a huge point in this story. I guess he's just supposed to warn everybody that the crow's coming, and I think there's some insinuation too that this is the place where the villains pawned the engagement ring. Right.
This is John Polito. He's a character actor as well. He's been in a ton of shit. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. It doesn't matter. Michael Massey played Funboy, who was the one who was basically having Sarah's mother, Darla, grinding on him while Sarah's there going like, you want to fucking take care of me or something? Like, I'm a kid.
What are you doing? Don't you know this game? What game are you talking about? Oh, it's the rings. I'm playing with the rings. They're in a metal box. It's under the shelf there. Take the fucking rings out. Take the fucking rings. You shoot them, and you choke on them. You son of a bitch. Look, it goes up to the attic.
I like that. Right in the hand. No, my hand.
Yeah, and it's just, man, fucking Brandon Lee's delivery of all this stuff. It almost does make me want to go watch the other Crow movies just to see everybody else fuck it up. Wasn't David Boreanaz in one? Like,
I believe as such. I know that one of them was Ed Furlong, and Mark Dacascos played the Crow in the Crow TV series. And who was the other guy? Whose name I can't remember. Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're crappy movies.
Yeah, like just the way like in that last scene with the the pawn guy, and he's just like, let me tell you a story. And he's like, it would be so easy for it to be bad, but it's not. Like I think that's what I like the most in life is like things that almost go over the line, but they don't. Except I think this movie kind of does at the end with the sword fight in the lightning storm. We'll get there.
But I mean, by that point, I mean, this movie has been so, I guess the story has gone to such an extreme place that why wouldn't it end on a rooftop with a lightning scenery thing going on behind it and a sword fight?
Yeah, because I guess like the two ways it could have gone is the way it did go, where it just kind of went to the action movie roots, because there's obviously a lot of action in this, so they were like, well, let's just finish off in an action-y way. Or I think I would have gone more with the weird poetry side, and I don't know, done something more artsy and weird.
Now, I don't know about you, but if I go into a store to buy something like, say, a ring, are you gonna know where they are if they're locked in a fucking box?
Right, but I mean, I guess that's...
Normally they're just in a glass display, you
right.
know. So weird, but whatever. I like how John Polito's character, Gideon, tells him, fucking take anything you want. At this point, he's got a shotgun in his hand. He's gonna take whatever he wants, period.
A whole jolly club. Jolly pirate nicknames. Oh, Jesus Christ, I got you. Hold still. Each one of these is a life. A life you helped destroy. Come back, my right. Don't kill me. I'm not gonna kill you. Your job will be to tell the rest of them that death is coming for them. Tonight. Tell them Eric Draven sends his regards.
I only recently found out which scene he was actually killed in as well. It's during the scene where T-Bird and his boys are in the apartment, assaulting him and raping Shelley Webster, and they shoot him. That's when they shoot him, that's where he gets shot, for real.
And it was... is that gas I smell? Fucking amazing. And it was the dude we were talking about earlier who was the Warriors guy, right?
Right.
Yeah, man, what a bummer. Because, I heard that he, did very little acting after that just because, I mean, it's understandable. Just how do you get past that you accidentally killed the guy? And it wasn't his fault, obviously. It was.
And not only did you kill a guy, but you killed Bruce Lee's fucking kid.
Yeah. I mean, it is funny, watching this again. It is such a... now that I'm not thinking of this as, a real city, but more it's just the setting for this story to happen. It is such a small little world, right? Where you've got the bad guys, you got the cop, you've got Eric, and they just keep running into each other. He's got the guitar that he took from the pawn shop. Oh, man, it'd be so easy for this to be bad.
Now, why would it be a big deal for him to know the cop's name? Obviously, there's only so many cops in each city. You live in the city, you know the fucking police, especially if you're a troublemaker. And generally, they have their name on everything, name tags and such. I mean, that's just nitpicking, of course, but the delivery of dialogue is very cheesy, like this. Had a friend who shouldn't have played with knives. Oh, you fucking killed someone.
Yeah, he should have just said, the coat. Yeah, he didn't need the line about likes to play with knives. Yeah, that's true. That's bad.
Why isn't he saying, you killed someone, did you? Let's get some handcuffs on your ass. Instead, he turns around and he's gone. Just like that.
The spirit of the crow. Yeah, it is weird too. The cop's very, remembers Shelley Webster, very familiar with that whole thing, but doesn't go oh fuck. You're clearly the boyfriend. You're totally that same guy.
But then again, you can also look at it from the point of view as why would it be the fucking boyfriend? Because he's dead.
Oh yeah, so this is Detroit, right? One of the long line of horrifying movies that takes place in Detroit.
Yeah.
It's funny too, because Detroit wasn't even that bad off back in these days. It was still the fucking Motor City, just fucking pumping out cars and shit. Little did they know what was gonna happen.
Yeah, like Judgment Night took place there, like the movie Judgment Night, the one that had the
Judgment Night was Detroit. Shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the one that had the rock rap hybrid.
Yeah, that was
soundtrack.
a pretty cool soundtrack. I liked it. I mean, I like rap rock though. So
Let's touch on soundtracks for a minute.
Yeah.
This soundtrack is flawless.
yeah, it's really good.
I give this soundtrack on its own an A. Like,
Yeah, and it's one of those like things like we were saying before in the other podcast. Like even if there's individual songs on the soundtrack that you might not normally listen to, they all work really well together.
yeah, the blend is just, I mean, it's so appealing. I mean, you've got everything from Stone Temple Pilots to Henry Rollins to Pantera to Jane Siberry, The Machines of Loving Grace, My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, Nine Inch Nails, The Cure. Like, I mean, that's most of the groups that are on it. But I mean, you know what I mean? It's just overall, the soundtrack is phenomenal.
And even like the Jane Siberry song, it's way better than Eric Draven's version of that song or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was one thing I just learned just recently because it just came out, is that the Stone Temple Pilots song was supposed to be a different song called Only Dying that only got released this year on like the 25th anniversary edition of Core. And I just thought that was kind of interesting. I actually like Big Empty better. I feel like it fits better on the soundtrack. But yeah, I guess just because the whole song was about like, you know, I only started to live on the day that she died. All this stuff about him being dead. And it's just like, he really died. We can't use that song.
I mean, realistically, anyway, what was the name of the song again? Big Empty?
Big Empty, yeah.
Big Empty was a really great bluesy, but at the same time, dark and heavy song. You know, it alternated between blues and hard rock really, really well.
Yeah, like, hey, what are you supposed to be, a clown or something? Sometimes. Yeah,
like, how's that supposed to be an indicator of...
can't rain all the time. See, she figured it out. Yeah, my emo rock friend, what the fuck?
I liked your dead wife better.
So anyway, now we're at the police station doing police stuff, but I thought I'd bring up, so this is another case of like, I think that the cuts were for the best, because I think keeping this movie lean and mean is a good move. Mm-hmm. But there was a lot of interesting deleted scenes in this, because specifically, like, he's got, about halfway through the movie, he starts showing up with electrical tape taped all over him, and it just looks cool. I never really thought about it. But in the deleted scenes, it's kind of cool because they do get into more about how his powers work. And it's basically, he's, you know, pretty much invincible as long as he's just going after vengeance. But if he uses his powers for outside stuff, then basically he loses his powers because he's doing shit he's not supposed to do. So it comes down to that scene with Darla where he, you know, like...
milks the heroin out of her body.
Yeah, and so because he's doing that to try to help Sarah and to try to help Darla and to just, you know, he's doing this side stuff that's not part of his mission. So for the next little while, for some indeterminate amount of time, he doesn't heal anymore. So that's why he's got the electrical tape on, because he gets all cut up and shot and stuff, and those ones don't heal. And I just thought that was neat. Like, it's a neat little detail to know about. But I guess ultimately not important, and yeah, it just would have made the movie longer and stuff. But stuff like that's cool to know about.
Now, the part where he's playing guitar, I mean, where the fuck did he get the amp?
Yeah.
But aside from that, you know, he gets this guitar that he has just freshly stolen from the pawn shop that he just freshly blew up. And so he's playing this fucking thing, and then he just destroys it, like...
Man, that's true. He like went to another pawn shop and stole an amp, and then he just starts wrecking it all. Dude, that's the other thing too. Like in the age of pre-CG, I mean, there was like a little bit of CG in this because they had to piece together some scenes, after he died. But that bird's not CG. Today, that bird would definitely be CG.
Oh, 100%.
And like, how did they even, just that alone, I feel like, is like a level of expertise that modern movies don't even have to deal with. Like, they had to find a fucking crow master to make the crow fly where they needed it to go. Like, man.
It's a squawk.
Caw, caw, bang, fuck, I'm dead.
Yeah, I love that. That's perfect.
This is kind of great too, because this dude's reaction, because he's like the most high of all of the villains, just like kind of dopey, Tommy Chong style guy. So when he sees the ghost of vengeance, he's just like, what the fuck?
He's got a gun, and he's pointing it at the Eric Draven character.
I even like how none of the bad guys are scared of him. They're all just like, get the fuck out of here, jerk off. What the fuck is this shit? Which is like a more natural reaction. I mean, yeah, these guys are horrifying, rapey murderer men.
Yeah, like they're pieces of shit who do horrible things. Like, why the fuck would they be scared of one dude when they're used to just killing anyone that gets in their way anyhow?
Oh, speaking of CG, though, here's some... well, it was like the fake hand effect, and now we get the... not great, but hey, it's 94.
Could be worse.
Yeah, it could be a lot worse. At least they use it real sparingly.
Mm-hmm. Like he says, ow. He gets shot and he goes, ow.
Man, it really must have been creepy for the people who worked on this movie to finish it up and to put it out after Brandon Lee got shot. I mean, here's like just a scene where he gets shot a bunch of times, and it's just like, man, it's fucking eerie. Look what you've done to my sheets. Yeah, I guess that's the thing too, is like with all the weird dialogue and dumb one-liners and stupid shit, it is like, it's almost like, it's like if this movie came out even just a few years earlier, it would have been like Commando or something, like it would have been terrible. But maybe if it came out a few years later, it would be too serious and it would just like embarrass everybody,
Now, another question that I have, if Sarah was around Shelley Webster and Eric Draven as often as she was in order to have an emotional attachment to Shelley Webster, Eric Draven characters, don't you think her mom might know?
Yeah, it is weird that like nobody recognizes.
Like, yeah, he's got face paint on, but it's not, he doesn't look.
Even Sarah was, saw him well enough to say, like, what, are you supposed to be, a clown or something? But only recognized him when he sang the song. Maybe that's part of his, let's figure it out. Maybe that's part of his deal.
Maybe it's like his Batman or his Superman hair, like, you don't know Superman's Superman
Right.
until he takes his glasses off and slicks his hair back.
Or maybe it's just part of, like, the Crow deal, is like, you can come back as the Vengeance Man, but people don't see you like you. Like, maybe he looks different to them or something. Because it is like, I don't know, that's just me making up shit, but, like, nobody recognizes him. Like, it's weird that not one person would.
Yeah, I mean...
Shelley Webster's dead, my friend. Like, he knew this couple, and he doesn't know Eric. Yeah, it's like, it's weird.
Maybe it would be interesting to have been able to see a couple of scenes from the point of the villains so that you would see what they're seeing from this character.
All right.
You burn yourself playing with matches?
Fuck off.
You have an appointment.
Well, shit on me.
Drink up.
This is the first. Do I bow or do I curtsy? I get my friend here a glass of blood.
Hey, good night, Darla.
You stay put.
Go,
Right there.
So now that he's done the good deed with undrugging Darla, let's see if we can figure out now where he gets a shot or cut or whatever and doesn't heal, and then we'll see the tape.
And there's Tony Todd of Candyman fame and the Tom Savini directed Night of the Living Dead remake, among many, many other movies.
That's weird too. He's like the one dude I actually kind of forgot he was in this movie. Like, I guess he's not in it much, but
Well, he's Top Dollar's sort of enforcer.
right.
And that's Michael Massey, who played Fun Boy. And he's been in a ton of shit too.
Man, so speaking of the soundtrack too, I think I'm going to end this with, because I thought this was so neat, is, I went and dug into a bunch of My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult because I loved that one song from this movie so much. and yeah, the other stuff, it's weird and it's different. It's generally not as good. But I'm going to play at the end of this podcast from their very first album. There's this song called Nervous Christians that is what they made after The Flesh but it's crazy. It's like a 9-minute fucked up weird industrial techno song, but it's all the same lyrics except it's a woman who sings them. And I just think if you're like a Crow soundtrack fan, it's cool because it's weird and good, but I think I only like it because I like this soundtrack so much.
Yeah, I definitely want to give that a listen too, because
it's
I haven't heard it.
And it's even neat just that they took this 9-minute song they had and like, how can we fucking recontextualize this into a 3-minute super awesome industrial rock song?
Come on, read the file. Shelley Webster.
All right, so let's see if we can figure out if he is recognizing Eric now or what.
Yeah, he is. He's already said, like, you're dead, you've been buried, you know, like,
Right.
boo. I've seen this about 1 billion fucking times. I mean, as far as cult movies go, this has all of the fucking things that make a cult movie long lasting.
Yeah, if anything, it almost might be almost a problem that it did well. You know, it made a lot of money at the box office, and that's why they made a zillion sequels. It almost would be more culty if it sort of went a little more under the radar.
I think if he hadn't have died, it would have stayed under the radar.
Yeah, no, I agree, definitely, yeah.
Like, the majority of the money they spent at the end of it was to complete scenes that Brandon Lee quite obviously couldn't have done unless they had a puppeteer marionetting his dead body, you know?
Even that was, like, interesting of, like, because, yeah, a lot of it, I guess, was that scene when he first goes back to his apartment and is having the flashbacks to what happened. Even just stuff like the first person shot of just the hand taking the police tape, like that is obviously because they could only shoot a guy's hand, but it looked cool. It really worked. And there's like a lot of those shots where it was like like the stunt double guy, so it's just him from behind. But man, that Alex Proyas, man, that dude knows what he's doing. He's like, fuck, all right, how do we do this? And he made it cool.
It was very seamless.
Yeah.
Like, I can't point out any shots that were not Brandon Lee.
Yeah, and I think the only one that's kind of an obvious digital effect, it's a pretty short little shot that they probably should have just left out, where he's like, he's kind of trembling and he's walking into one of the rooms, and it's like he's just way too wet because he was clearly outdoors. The original shot. It's like a weird little shot, but I mean, that's, again, just a nitpick because it's like fucking 3 seconds long, but...
I got stabbed. I shot the son of a bitch. I watched the bullet hole close by itself. And my business gets blown up real good.
Set aside the dialogue, because really, I mean, the dialogue is very dated. It was written more than 20 years ago.
Even that, though, like, believe me, nothing is trivial. I remember I made a little song once where I like made an instrumental and then I just put in movie quotes all the time, and just, you know, it's like my own little weird techno song I made in the 90s, and that was the final one. Like, again, just like, oh, because I'm a deep teenager, but believe me, nothing is trivial. I think I even put I put like some little flutes under it. Like, think about it, like a pan flute and shit. It was pretty fucking sweet. However, I'm not gonna play that at the end. I'll stick with the fucking Nervous Christian song.
So Gideon is now at Top Dollar's, I guess, headquarters with, I don't know what Tony Todd's character's name is. I can't remember. Bai Ling, who is supposed to be the sister of the Top Dollar character.
And I guess it is kind of obvious too. Like, I mean, I really do like Top Dollar, and I love that dude, and I like all this. But it's when you like read the comic, and like all the other bad guys, as far as I remember, are all in there, but not him. Like, there is no higher level dude. It's all just street thugs, and that does kind of make more sense instead of, hey, I'm the criminal mastermind. I'm the final boss. You know?
Why does there have to be a hierarchy?
Yeah. But man, I love this fucking garbage city. Like, this is worse than like RoboCop Detroit, you know? It's just like, yeah, and he's just in a warehouse, you know? He's in some big weird warehouse with his sword collection, and it's just like, what the fuck? His luscious locks, his beautiful hair. But yeah, just so good. I don't know why I'm so hung up about the sword fight at the end, because yeah, there's a lot of fucking silly shit that happens well before that. But I guess it's that thing of like the great ending, you know, of like, if you really stick the ending, it makes up for pretty much everything in a story. And I wouldn't say they quite stick the ending on this.
I mean, you get to take some points off for the ending just based on the fact that it seemed rushed. But one can understand why it was rushed.
It almost would have been cool if he just used some kind of his like fucking crow magic or something. Like, well, he does kind of do that, doesn't he? He's like, he gives Top Dollar the memories.
Right, like the 30 hours of pain and suffering that Shelley Webster had.
So I guess I don't mind fundamentally how it goes. Yeah, it just something about it felt less stylish at the end. It did kind of feel more like, let's just wrap this movie up.
I'm trying to understand why Top Dollar killed Gideon.
Yeah, he's just a bad man. I do like, though, that he's got his, like, semi-mystical sister who sort of has some kind of inkling about that something is going on that's not just the normal, you know, dude who's fucking up people. But I do kind of like the line that they, like, maybe that's even where it might be good that they cut out those scenes explaining too much about his powers and, oh, they work here and they don't work here. Because I do kind of like that they leave it sort of nebulous. It's like as long as he hates you bad enough and as long as he wants vengeance bad enough, he's gonna kill you. And I feel like that's all you really need to know.
I don't remember if, Sarah plays the record and it skips on the line, it can't rain all the time.
It can't rain all the time.
And the band's name was Hangman's Joke. Like, that in itself is a joke.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't have picked a cooler name for your band? Like, I don't know.
You know what the Hangman's Joke was? Fucking Jesus Christ walks into a bar with 3 nails.
Yeah.
Man, just look how fucking beautiful this movie is. Holy shit, just flying around the city. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, I can't remember the last time I actually watched this. I don't think it was that long ago, but man, it's actually better than I remembered, to be honest.
And we haven't even got to, I mean, I guess we're getting there now. Possibly the greatest scene in the whole movie when he fucking lights the symbol of the crow. And I love too, holy shit, man, T-Bird's death of just like that, again, yeah, like goofy shit, but they pull it off somehow where, why would you, while you're raping someone, read them your satanic devil Bible verses or whatever? But he does. And then just before he dies, T-Bird, you know, he's just saying them to himself. Like, that is how he's trying to make himself feel better is like he felt how awful goodness was. Like he really believes that shit in his last moments. That's all that he's like going through his head. Yeah, these are some tip-top villains. I like them.
I think I like Skank a little bit more than the other guys just because he's so pathetic. Like,
yeah, I feel like him and Funboy are like, they're like the low level, definitely low rank.
I don't believe Skank on his own would be a successful villain. I think he would have been jailed or something by this point for theft or whatever. But I think he works really well as a lackey to the other guys.
Look at this fucking...
Mouthful of potato chips. Stupid ass hair.
What the fuck?
And kicks him in the balls.
What the fuck kind of insult is that? But yeah, I mean, that's Skank. Yeah, he Grand Theft Autos that shit. Man, yeah, T-Bird is the slickest one. Like, yeah, now he's even just like, what do you want? Money, drugs? Hey, maybe we could use you. Join our team. Like, he's just like, what do you want? I got it. Let's make this work. Let's make a deal.
You want some smokes? The guy in the Ninja Turtle set got offered smokes. Maybe that'll work for you. What the crap?
What the ass hair?
There's another what the crap scene in this as well.
Really?
Yeah. So this car scene, the alleyways are so dark and narrow and not well lit. It does have a very Sin City feel to it. And then when you're seeing through the crow's eyes and it's all black and white, it's even more pronounced.
Yeah, and it's definitely one of those movies that kind of hits that middle point of like, I keep saying how awesome it looks, and it's obviously not a cheap movie, but it's also not like an expensive movie. Like, these are all really contained little sets and very few characters, really. You never see like the city doing stuff or groups of people or anything.
Well, I don't know that they did an actual special 20th anniversary edition, because it doesn't say 20th edition on it. I looked at the dates on it. That's how I surmised that it is the 20th anniversary. However, the transfer, that's where what makes it look so much more impressive than I remember is that this is likely done off of a 2K scan from the original negative, and that's what's giving it this filter that is just not grainy. It's really, this is why you buy Blu-ray. This is why you buy 4K. It's for movies like this,
It must be sweet, yeah, for like people that made all these movies too, to have them available to people on like a 4K TV now too, because like, yeah, back in the day it was like, I hope people see this in the theater because otherwise they just got to see it on TV. It's just...
And that's where the old line is, only in theaters, or you have to experience it in the theater because it's not, you'll never see it as good again, sort of thing, but in this day and age, like, it's almost better.
Yeah, I really do. This is the really real world, man. Yeah, there's so many fucking lines I love in this. Yeah, that's one thing I wonder a lot about. Like, we were talking earlier about things that have changed in our lifetime, and like, we saw the internet happen and cell phones and vaping even. Like, are movie theaters gonna go away in our lifetime? Like, they still seem like they're doing pretty well, but it could happen so fast.
The unfortunate thing is right now in this time that we're in, is that little movies cost a lot of money, much like big movies cost a lot of money. However, my point is that little movies don't stay in theaters for as long as they used to. Like, a little movie used to stick around in theaters for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Now they're gone in a week or two. They don't have the opportunity to get word of mouth spread anymore. You can see everything you need to see on the internet. You look through your listings, you see X movie, you can look up the trailer for it. You can look up the synopsis, the plot, the actors, like everything for it.
Yeah, definitely the scarcity of the past did make stuff kind of more fucking cool. So yeah, that scene, speaking of cool, with the lighter fluid in the shape of the crow, you know, ridiculous that he would spend the time and even be able to do that. But yeah, like that's the kind of shot that like made the commercials for this movie just like amazing.
Yeah, it made it stand out, you know. I think the Beavis and Butthead movie came out around the same time too.
Right. Good time for film. 94, man, it really was good. I mean, that's the year that's Shawshank year. And Forrest fucking Gump, but Shawshank should have won that Oscar.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Pulp Fiction was 94. 94 was a crazy year.
I think Pulp Fiction was 93.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of 94 because it just made it extra disgusting. That stupid ass Forrest Gump one. Not that I hate Forrest Gump, but I mean, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Who cares about it?
Darla really does remind me of an ex-girlfriend that I had. Like, not so much her voice, but how she looks.
And you're sure she didn't go quickly to Hollywood for a quick stint in acting?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And I'm not saying that as a bragging thing, because really Darla looks kind of used up. So an intimate mother-daughter scene, not like porno style, but just, you know. I like how we managed to mention porn in every single episode.
Yeah, it's a big part of life, even when it's not, you know? I mean, even if, like, and have you ever heard of, like, the NoFap movement, where it's just, like, dudes that are trying to give up porn and give up masturbating?
Really?
Yeah, I tried it, and, like, man, I don't know. I did not do well. but it's funny, because even for those guys, who their whole thing is that they don't watch porn, it's still a big part of their lives, because that's how they identify themselves. It's like, I'm a guy who does not watch porn.
I mean,
it must be so weird, because yeah, I know you've said too in other podcasts, like, you know, hey, yeah, when I was a teen, it's a big part of my life. Now I'm a grown up, not so much. But it must be weird to be a chick, right? To just not have testosterone and just not be wired that way, where it's just never a part of your life. You just never care about that.
yeah, like you never see a girl just going into a store going like, I need to rent some porno.
Yeah, man.
But I mean, so your failure in the no fat movie, like when you failed and you didn't, like when you failed by not failing,
Right.
what was your record for not doing it? Like was
very low, like 5 days or something. But part of it too was just like the what is that, like serotonin and whatever, just, you know, the little reward chemicals that you get in your brain, you know, you get them from running and exercise and all kinds of shit, from chocolate.
right?
So I found the easiest way was if I'm just busy, if I'm doing stuff, if I'm around people, I gotta go meet someone, I gotta go do this, I got a job, I'm doing things, then it's much easier. But I decided, it was this last winter when I went to Vancouver all by myself, and I'm like, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to write a novel, and I'm going to learn how to not masturbate. But I'm all by myself in a big city where I don't know anybody. Not the right time. Just not the right time to try that. Because just every night I'd get home and just be like, fuck this. Why am I even trying to do this? Yeah. So yeah, no, it didn't go great.
I, in all honesty, cannot remember the last time I whacked off. And that's not, you know, a big bragging thing. It's just, I'm in a really amazing relationship and I don't need to. Like,
yeah. Well, that's a big, it's funny that I don't know how this came up, just because we'll get back to the crow. But that is one of the big debates in the NoFap community is, I guess they call it like hard mode, you know? Where hard mode is no orgasms of any kind. And then other people are like, what, so my girlfriend can't fucking suck my dick? Fuck you. Like, why would she even do this?
yeah, that's why you're trying to make everyone else miserable, you fucking dick.
Yeah, and I really do think at that point it is just kind of silly. I really do think it's just because I thought the getting away from porn side of it, I feel like is a good idea. Because that's another thing we never saw coming in our lifetimes. Like, remember when we were kids and it's like, oh, we got this sweet, like, oh, this was a pretty cool porn mag, and then I got these other few porn mags that aren't as good. But But still, that's all I've got is these same stupid porn mags, unless I want to go buy one or steal one or something.
Right.
Where with the internet, it's just like a tap. You just turn it on and it's like, oh, you don't like those boobs? How about these other 2 billion boobs? And yeah, I mean, our sad little monkey
Something
brains,
for
man.
everyone.
Yeah, like we're not equipped to handle this. It's ridiculous.
You know what you like today? You like clown porn.
Yeah.
That's what you want to watch.
You didn't even know it, but now you'll never not know it.
You thought about it, and here it is, motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah, the collective subconscious. If you thought of it, so did a bunch of other people, and now it is a thing. So, Sarah's at the scene of the crime, which no one has cleaned up because Detroit is such a shithole that they
There's
just...
paper all over the place. The chair is torn up.
Although I guess if this was kind of a high-profile murder, maybe nobody would want to move into this place, so yeah, they just let it go.
There's a bird in the house. She's talking to herself.
But the fact that it's an abandoned apartment makes it very edgy and cool.
That would have been a cool apartment, though, because, I mean, really, like, if it had stayed in one piece, like, that was
Yeah.
a cool-looking room.
The big loft with, like, yeah, the cool fucking...
Nice shadow. Like, that silhouette is so lame.
Yeah, that's pretty corny.
We ought to just videotape this, play it back in slow motion.
Oh, here we got just poor old Skank. Skank's the only one left. He's
Send for some robies, right? Fire it up. Fire it up. Fucking idiot.
It's funny too, like I just saw a scene in this that I just literally never paid attention to ever before, where the right-hand man, you know, the candy man, went to Eric's fucking grave and saw that it was all turned over. And I don't know that that's even that important. I guess he just, because, like, who cares if Top Dollar understands what's happening or not? It doesn't really matter. But it's funny that that whole character, maybe I'm racist. I just forgot he was even in this movie.
He just smacks the shit out of him. Like, shut the fuck up.
What happens to Skank? Does he make it through this movie?
No, man, I don't think so.
Yeah, because I guess there's the big Thrill Kill Cult gunfight scene coming up, right?
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. He's gonna be on top of the building with his fucking guitar shredding away. He's gonna bash it up like I said he would. That nice guitar that he just stole, fair and square. And then it's gonna switch from his shitty guitar solo thing, emo sounding bullshit, to My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult song After the Flash.
Oh, and I can confirm I'm not racist. Because, yes, I forgot about the Candyman, but I did not forget about Ernie Hudson, so... Can we just fucking make that clear? Every podcast I seem like a racist, but I'm not. I'm just a masturbator. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore, Ray.
A habitual masturbator. Like, there should be like a mug shot, and it would just be like a picture of your hand. You know, like, have you seen this man?
Wanted for crimes against a cock. It's his own cock, but that doesn't matter. In the eyes of the law.
Suspicion, wanted for suspicion of spousal abuse.
Yeah, so here is the scene you're talking about with the guitar on the rooftop. So this is where, like, if I was gonna make a music video out of this movie, I probably wouldn't use these shots, because, yeah, this is it's too much. It's like...
Well, there's the...
drama! Fuck this guitar. Yeah, and this is kind of the money shot. Yeah, this is like I was saying earlier, how there's no crowds and really no people in this town. This is the one time. And again, man, this just seems like this is a show I want to go to. This is a fucking... If I was rich, like, I would recreate this concert.
Or, you know, pay them to do a concert like this instead of how they would do it now.
That's like I always thought it would be cool to, like, if you could offer a service where it was like a house party, but like from a 90s teen movie, you know, where you've got the big house with the sort of curved staircase and you got a big pool and everyone has red Solo cups and you just listen to fucking music from the late 90s, early 2000s.
I mean, eventually all the 90s music is going to come back, because right now everything seems to be geared towards bringing back 80s themed stuff. So it only makes logical sense that the next thing to come up is the 90s.
We just gotta hope, though, they bring back the good 90s, because there's a lot of bad 90s, too.
I don't know, man. Smash Mouth.
Yeah, right. They never left. I mean, fuck.
Just kidding, by the way. Let's make that clear. Not a fan of Smash Mouth.
I like how I'm like, hey, I'm not a racist. You're like, look, I don't like Smash Mouth.
Those are the hard lines.
I don't need these rumors spread about me. It's ruining my life. I'll never get a job again if people think I like Smash Mouth.
So he's up there giving his fucking speech to all these other crime bosses.
Yeah, like this really is kind of like, it is a level beyond. Like I was saying earlier, I guess how I didn't really believe so much in the gang so much, that they all are still hanging out a year later. But I believe in the gang way more than I believe in the Detroit crime bosses.
I've never been to Detroit. Is it a big enough place to have that many crime bosses?
Not anymore. Now that everybody fucking left. I don't know, though. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty famous city, but I don't really know. I mean, I guess fucking everybody's from there. Fucking ICP, Eminem, fucking, Kid Rock. Every goddamn white rapper in the world's from there. Except the Bloodhound Gang.
Where the fuck are they from?
Where's the Wawa? Philadelphia, I think, or Pittsburgh. One of the P ones. Pennsylvania, anyway.
Fuck that.
Right. See, that's cool, though. That he's, Devil's Night. I guess we never talked about that at all. That it's like the night. Is it the night before Halloween?
Yes.
Where just people commit crimes and fucking light fires, and that's the day that Eric got killed and his girlfriend. So I do like that he's like, I'm doubling down. Fuck this guy. I'm going to light the fire so big the fucking gods will see it.
I love that line. I feel like a little worm on a big fucking hook.
Yeah.
Should use that for the intro.
Yeah. And yeah, little did fucking Top Dollar know the gods will see him. But it's the gods of vengeance. And the gods of vengeance wear a leather jacket and cool makeup, and they fucking rule.
Why hasn't anyone just started shooting yet?
Yeah. Because it's a little witty repartee. I have some fucking witty rejoinders to say, and you're gonna listen.
I like that so matter-of-factly. I want him. Well, you can't have him.
I wonder, though, because, this happens in every movie, right? Where people just talk instead of getting down to action. But I bet there's a certain truth to it of, like, I would want to know a bit. Like, yeah, tell me what's going on. Give me your best fucking explanation for this situation.
They're expecting this is all done. Business is adjourned for the day. So on and so forth.
Look at this dude with the Uzi and the beret. What movie did he fucking come out of? That's fucking Universal Soldier guy. Like, why is he here? Oh, okay, he's gone. Yeah, this is like the fucking Boondock Saints. Just everyone's gonna get killed scene.
Look at that pussy Michael Wincott run.
I guess it's pretty easy to win a gunfight when you can't be hurt, Just obviously I'm still, hey, the Crow's my boy, but that's one of those things, too, that always used to bug me, is, it's one of those things like, it's not Frankenstein, it's Frankenstein's monster or whatever. It's like, he's not the Crow. The Crow is the Crow. He's Eric Draven. It's like, yeah, okay, I get it.
Like, shut up.
Yeah.
Go get laid. Stop whacking off. Join NoFap.
Yeah, instead of the NoFap, they should call it the Get Laid Club or whatever.
Yeah, maybe. Like, put some effort into that instead of in yourself.
That would be, like an infomercial. If you put just 2% of the effort you put into jerking off into fucking getting your dick wet, you get your dick wet.
Oh, and he's stolen property.
Man, this does too. This is one of those things that seems like it would have been a cool video game, but it was not a cool video game.
Was it a video game at all?
Yeah, it was on, I think, PlayStation 1. And it fucking sucked. Real bad. Editor's note, the Crow game was actually a Crow City of Angels game available for the PlayStation and the Sega Saturn. The reviews gave it 3 out of 10. Not good. Okay, back to the commentary. Man, though, still just cool. Just the lighting, the set, just fucking cool.
Soundtrack, everything. A lot of gold. The band is like, no, we're out.
We're gonna change our whole style now. We're gonna become a fucking industrial disco band. Again, yeah, I just don't remember the exact way that Skank fucking meets his doom, so let's see it happen.
Yeah, I think he gets chucked out a window.
Skank, what a great name. Skank's dead. See, it's funny that I always remembered the line "Skank's dead" because I just thought it was a funny thing for him to say. Mm-hmm. But oh yeah, there he's dead, all right. What in the crap? There it was. That's the other what in the crap.
Nice.
But yeah, that I forgot that Skank's dead was just a tee up so that Eric can say like, yeah, he is. I just blocked out a lot of the bad lines.
I mean, you're bound to have a movie's dialogue sort of not aged too well. I mean, it happens. It's 20 years plus. But what do you do, right? Like, I mean, you can either still enjoy the movie or you can nitpick at it. I mean, I still really enjoy this movie, but I mean, there's bits that are fucking irritating. I mean, that happens.
And it is like, yeah, it's a delicate art. Like sometimes those little dumb lines can be kind of cool, but there should be way less of them. There's, yeah, easily like 3 times more than there needs to be in this movie. That'd be interesting just to make, because that'd be easy to do, make a fan edit, or literally just cut those lines out. Like, it'd probably be better.
Just fucking chucks himself from a roof into some homeless dude's fucking business. In the car he goes. Officer Albrecht is now helping him.
Yeah, so I guess this is another thing too. Yeah, this, I guess, yeah, all my memories of the later parts of the movie are definitely less clear, because, yeah, in my mind, that whole scene just transitioned into the final battle, but I guess not. I guess we gotta do some other stuff first.
Hey, that's alright. I mean, I think we are, if memory serves, we're getting fairly close to the end of the movie. It's so weird that they're supposed to be brother and sister because they look like they could be an actual couple. And he'd just watch and jerk off.
Man, I really can't believe how much... What's Candyman's real name again?
Tony Todd.
Yeah, I can't believe how much he's in this film. I've just then, yeah, forgot all about him. But now that we've established that, I'll stop bringing it up.
Yeah, whatever. So there he is with the tape, like you had mentioned.
Cool tape, yeah. Yeah, because again, like I just thought it's like just a cool thing to do. It just looks cool. Oh yeah, so speaking of this, so now that we're at the next day, we're at Halloween night and we get the Halloween kids. I guess it was probably the year The Crow came out. I was The Crow for Halloween, and I was like right at the edge. That might have been the last year that I went out trick-or-treating, because I was like 15. Like I probably should have already stopped. But I met another Crow kid in Devon, and it was just kind of a weird moment where we were both just like,
oh,
hey, I guess you're The Crow too, huh? Cool.
Whose costume was better?
I think his was, but my makeup was better, so it's a tie.
How often do you just lay in the graveyard and go to sleep?
Yeah, that shit's fucking cold.
I don't know. I really can't get over how much better this looks than the last time I saw it. And I'm sure, I mean, we have the VHS as well, so I might go through it at some point between now and when you take off tomorrow, and just to see what the difference is.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, just toss it in for a bit. I'm no like fucking DVD Blu-ray expert guy, but you definitely see times when, you can see the grain way too much. Sometimes a little grain is cool, and sometimes it's just like, what the fuck's going on? But I can't like see the grain at all in this. It's just like super clear.
Yeah, they did a really good job switching this up for the Blu-ray transfer. But I mean, they only had to go from DVD, so I mean, I don't know how they went about doing it, but they did a good job.
Man, Sarah has a very fucking fashion-forward haircut. It's kind of like shaved on the sides. Like that became cool like 5 years ago. She was way ahead of the curve.
That was really cool in the 90s too for a little while, like in the mid to late 90s especially.
As well as skateboarding. This movie really, she really was like the coolest, the hippest kid.
And now that son of a whore's caught her and looking to hold her for ransom or some such shit. I think she should just start kicking people in the nuts.
Man, it's weird to think like, I don't know, just not weird, I guess, but just that everybody gets old, right? Like, I was just thinking if I ever somehow got in a position that I could make a movie, it's, gonna be a while. It's gonna be like 10 more years or something. So I'll be old as fuck at that point. So, like, I'd be like, hey, go get top dollar from The Crow. Let's get that guy in this movie. He's gonna be, like, the Crypt Keeper by then. But he might still be cool as fuck. Who knows, hopefully.
I find it highly unlikely. I like how they do the Crow's vision as well. Like, the actual Crow's vision, not the character Eric Draven.
Yeah, the weird, it's just, like, warm, kind of warped. There's a classic shot right there, too. It's just fucking... Oh man, like the power shot of walking into the church and just like, you couldn't brood more than that. That's the broodingest you can be.
Broodingest. I like that. I'm going to use that.
So yeah, I guess we didn't have much further to go because here we are, the climactic final battle.
This is where it all begins. Him and his katana and Eric Draven and whatever he can get his hands on.
I even like here too, I don't remember exactly how it goes, but that he just says something along the lines of like I didn't know you, I didn't know you, sorry about your girlfriend. But whatever, man. Like just all the bad guys are so unrepentant in this movie.
Yeah, like, they did wrong and now he's trying to get revenge and they're like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah, none of them even feel like they deserve it or whatever. It's like, I don't know, it's weird, man. It's kind of cool. Yeah, there's another, like, whole deleted scene thing. I don't even think they finished the scenes, but it was like this, weird sort of, like, ghost cowboy character from the comic that kind of explains more to him about his mission and whatever. And he was going to be in the movie too. They cast some guy as him, but they took all that shit out because like you've already got the Crow guiding you. You really don't need a ghost cowboy, man.
Seems like a weird character anyway. So I mean, I'm kind of glad they didn't throw it in there because honestly, this movie has enough going on.
Yeah.
We've got the gunfight with Ernie Hudson killing Tony Todd.
Black on black crime, man, every time. It's bullshit.
Yeah, give a guy a gun and see what happens.
Yeah, and inconvenient that Ernie Hudson rolled in. He just gave the little explanation like, I just came to pay my respects or whatever. Well, I guess maybe it's not so weird. Like, he knows Eric Draven's back and stuff, but he doesn't know where Eric went. I guess the grave. That's where Sarah went too. Everyone's just like, let's go to the grave. A little convenient, but I guess I'll give it a pass.
Makeup still intact.
Yeah. Spotless. You can make clown porn out of that guy still.
Oh no. Although you get a bone from him for sure.
So I always kind of got the impression, you know, like the makeup, it's like the Harlequin mask or whatever, right? Or whatever it's called, the fucking, you know, the happy sad mask. So here's kind of how I always imagine this in my head. Like, this isn't the first time this has happened, that this crow spirit, the vengeance spirit, this whole thing happens, but he only looks like that because that was one of his interests, or he was into, you know, the pathos mask and all that shit. So,
or maybe he's retarded and he's unimaginative and
yeah, and even so, but still, it was his thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why does every other crow from here on in look like that? Just because, like, maybe the crow spirit was like, whoa, that guy looked way cooler than all the other vengeance spirits. From now on, everyone is dressing like that.
Yeah, it's like a dress code now.
Yeah. If you can come up with a cooler look, you can use it, but good fucking luck. Bang, bang, cough, fuck, I'm bit in the eye.
And her eyes get pecked out by the actual physical crow, and she's toast.
Man, you remember that part in Kill Bill 2 where Daryl Hannah gets her second eye plucked out?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and they don't even kill her. It's just like, have fun being blind, bitch. I fucking love that part. She just, like, loses.
And they left her with snakes, too, didn't they?
Yeah. He's a bad man. He's just fucking top dollar, pushing Sarah off the fucking church. So here we are, the famous rooftop church battle in the rain. I heard it's like really tough to film scenes with these fake rain shit going on.
I can't even imagine.
But it is wicked. If I ever make a movie, it's gonna rain all the time. So yeah, that's where I was thinking of the lightning. I can see why that bothered me, because it's one thing to grab this big ornamental thing from the roof of the church and use it for the sword fight, but a lightning bolt struck it right before he took it, and I don't know why. I don't know what the fucking point of that was, except to be ridiculous.
To look cool.
Yeah, I guess, except it looked gay. It looked gay, like two cocks rubbing on each other and then coming on each other.
You went there. Oh, sad day. Now I gotta whack off too.
My nofap streak is over because of your delicious descriptions of cocks.
Fuck, now I just have to touch a juicy wiener, and I guess it might as well be my own. Yeah.
So Eric just got stabbed, not looking good for him, but the crow's not dead. The crow's still alive, and apparently the crow itself is his link to mystical powers. And fucking top dollar, man, still. There it is. It's just like, still will not repent. What happened back there? You and your girlfriend? I cleared that building. He's just like, I did it. Nothing happens in this town in Zazo, but you know what? Fuck you.
Go fuck yourself. I don't care. I don't care that she's dead. I don't care that you're dead, because you're going to be dead again. It's going to be fun. Fuck all those other guys. I was tired of paying them anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess if I had made this movie, I mean, I would never be able to make this movie with even a fucking 1% of this style. Like, overall, my version of this movie would be worse. But yeah, I think I would have skipped all the sword fighting. I just would have cut right to this. Like, let's just go straight for the psychological trauma, magical. And then, yeah, he doesn't need to fall off the building. He could just die. It's fine.
I mean, being impaled on the gargoyle horns and the blood coming out of the mouth, that was a really good touch.
Yeah, she was pretty cool. What city did 7 take place in? Did they ever say?
I don't fucking remember. That's a good movie too, though.
Yeah, so this reminded me of that too. Just like the fucking cop seen too much, the rainy fucking city.
We should check that out.
Yeah. That was like when that came out, that was my favorite movie for like a couple of years. It's just like that. Again, that's just another case where like, man, good movie all the way through, but an ending, when they nail an ending, it's just insane. It can.
I will say this though, it is a great movie and I love it. It's definitely up there for me, but I feel like it's it gets a little draggy in the middle.
Right. And even for me, like David Fincher movies, Fight Club is my favorite one, but man, Seven is good.
Did you see that in the theater, Fight Club?
Did I? Yeah, but it was just barely. I missed it in the main theater because it didn't do that good in theaters. But they had that Toonie theater for a while on the north side, and yeah, I saw it there, and then I saw it 3 times that week because I'm like, this is my only chance. Like
crazy.
So yeah, I only paid $6 to see it 3 times. But
yeah, I saw it once in the theater with my ex-wife. When we paid full price, it was opening night, Friday night.
yeah, that was totally a case of just a movie not being marketed right. Because I totally, like, I was going to go just because I like David Fincher. But the game had already come out and it was kind of lame. So I wasn't super excited. And yeah, it just seemed like Bloodsport, which nothing against Bloodsport, but it's definitely not Bloodsport, you know?
Speaking of Bloodsport, let's take a moment to say a solitary prayer for the demise of the Bloodsport VHS tape that we once had in this collection.
Oh, wait, what happened?
The ribbon was molded together so it wouldn't play.
Ah, bummer. Never got to see the Kowloon Walled City.
Nah, you know, it's never been on Blu-ray as far as I know. There's Shelley Webster wearing...
Still when she was young and pretty.
Yeah, and you can see her underwear through her white robes.
So after a long, hard day of stabbing and shooting and various murders, Eric's at his grave. His job's done. The spirit of his beloved has come to give him the hand job of all hand jobs.
Zip. He should be like, lady, I just killed dozens of people for you. Suck my wiener.
It's just like that scene with the morphine or whatever in Darla's arm, except it's his dick. It just blurts out. Oh, I never noticed that either. The Crow has the engagement ring. That's a little much. Why would the Crow give a fuck about that?
Because crows habitually will pick up anything that's shiny.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, yeah, that's not bad. I'll take it. That's good enough. That's the French title, Le Corbeau d'Or.
Le Corbeau. Yeah, that's bad effects there.
Yeah. It's a little lame with the crow flying away, but...
Were stolen from us. The way to have them live on is to never stop loving them. Buildings burn, people die, but real love is forever.
Boom. Boom.
For Brandon and Eliza.
Who's Eliza?
That would have been his fiance who never got to marry him.
Bummer.
Yeah, whatever.
She should have been in the Crow sequel, and then she could have come back to avenge. She kills all the actors from this movie. That'd be in poor taste, I guess.
So yeah, I mean, overall this movie is just, I mean, it's an entertaining piece of cinema that has stood the test of time for the last 2 decades.
And I really do feel like it's one of those things that, like, by tomorrow, probably by later today, you know, as I'm drifting off to sleep, like those little spikes of, you know, missteps of the dumb dialogue and the weird things, like those just fade away so easy. And I just remember the overall cool style and shit. Although really, overwhelmingly, it's the first half that I like. Because once it gets into all the top dollar stuff, like, I didn't even remember half of it. It's just like, whatever.
It loses me at that point a little bit, but not because it's a bad movie, just because by this point I've already seen all the entertaining characters.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's just such a boring character. Bai Ling is a little bit more interesting than him, but that's because she's purely fucking weird.
But it's true, yeah, like there's way more, I mean, there was more personality in fucking Tintin, and he was only in this movie for fucking 5 minutes.
I also want to say Tony Todd is wasted in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
he's such a good actor, such a presence, and in this movie, he's just not given anything to latch onto with his teeth. Like, it's just...
What did he just got shot, right? By Ernie Hudson? That was it?
Yeah, he gets shot up a little
Yeah,
bit.
he doesn't even
you
get
know.
killed by fucking the crow.
Yeah.
That's fucking weird.
So, 20 years, the soundtrack is still phenomenal. The movie itself, I mean, from my own personal point of view, I'm going to go ahead and give it a... I guess I'll have to give it a C rating. It's a really good movie that does stand the test of time. But honestly, if the soundtrack weren't as good as it is, I don't know that I'd give it a C. The acting, all very paint by numbers. The story could have used some tweaking a little bit. I mean, the effects were great for the time. But overall, the best characters in the movie, the best actors in this movie were T-Bird's crew.
Yeah, totally. I could say, I mean, I would give it like a B, but that's purely nostalgia talking. Like, if I just saw this in 2018 for the first time, totally a C. But for me, it's a B. But it's not an A, because I'm not crazy.
If you had asked me 20 years ago, this would have been an easy A.
Yeah, oh, totally. Back then it was, yeah, for
But
sure.
we were also teenagers back then,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because you got to think too, like, especially as though you put yourself in the mid '90s. It's like, cool, The Crow, and what? Like, what's the competition? There's not even another movie that is close to this cool.
no, not for that year anyway.
I mean, there was other stuff, like Natural Born Killers and stuff, but nothing that was like this. Nothing where someone was just like painted up in a cool outfit and had cool music and was doing cool shit. Like, it just.
I mean, it's definitely a sci-fi comic book movie that does what it sets out to do, I guess. I think that I don't think this is a movie I can watch every year, though. At this point, I think this is purely a movie that is watched to bring back that nostalgia.
I wonder if, because this movie is pretty heavy on the action scenes and stuff, I wonder how much that had to do with just that it was Brandon Lee, and just like the lineage of the family and just kind of what was expected of him as like an action movie guy. Because I do feel like the stronger parts of this movie are just the tone and like I really feel like this could have almost been like a weird romance movie almost. Like it didn't need so many fights. Although some of the fights are cool. But.
I mean, it could have gone a lot of different ways, right? I mean, it's hard to say why the direction went the way it did as far as fight scenes.
Yeah, because I guess even that. So like with those early villains, it was more personal and more one-on-one and them all just being pricks. But yeah, like especially with that top dollar fucking crime lord scene, like those people were all in the movie just so a gunfight could happen. Like at that point, yeah, it's definitely taken a turn away from.
Look at the last guy in the credits, Tim Parati as badass criminal.
Nice. Still his greatest role.
So yeah, that said, I give it a C, and it's a solid C because I can't watch this movie every year.
Yeah.
It's good, it holds up, it does, again, what it sets out to do, and it brings me back to that place in my mind where I was when I watch it. It brings me back to 1994 when I was, at that point, I would have been 15, 16 years old, something like that. So it puts me in a good place because those were good times. So because of that, C rating, I stand by it. However, rating the soundtrack on its own, I give that an A, hands down an A for the soundtrack.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of the soundtrack, so when I just listened back to it recently, it'll be coming up here soon. It's funny that I really went deep into my life with the Thrill Kill Cult based on this, but I didn't for... There's another song coming up, Slip Slide Melting, it's called.
Oh, right.
And when I listen back, I'm like, well, this is a really good song, too. Here it is.
For Love Not Lisa.
Yeah, so, but I never looked into them. I never paid attention to that song ever back in the day. And now listening back, I'm like, I like that song. But, I mean, why bother looking up this band? It's too late.
Yeah, their time passed before this movie even left theaters.
Yeah. And that kind of thing rarely works out. Like, you know, when you go dig into some band just because you like one song in a soundtrack, it's probably not going to work out.
Interscope Records, that makes sense. They were really on top of their game at that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this was The Crow from 1994, starring Brandon Lee, Michael Wincott, Tony Todd, Ernie Hudson, among many others. We've both given it our ratings. One was a B, one was a C. We're very happy with it, especially the soundtrack. So, I mean, you've probably seen this. I mean, chances are you've seen this movie. If you haven't seen the movie, I definitely suggest checking it out. Try and find it somewhere free, though. You know, I mean, you don't have to go out and buy this.
That little noise, by the way, that's a cat. That's not me whimpering while Ray talks.
Yeah.
Because it just, thinking if I was listening to that, I'd just be like, what the fuck is the other guy doing? What are those noises?
That's the grunting sound you make when you fap.
Yeah. At the end of every commentary, I'm just like, yeah, we did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess it is one of those cases, yeah, if you weren't a pre-existing fan of The Crow, yeah, I mean, I guess I wouldn't twist your arm to go watch it because you might just think that it's a very silly movie. But
I mean, especially if you're a fan of comic book movies in this day and age, this is just an altogether different movie. This is a more adult movie.
Yeah, it's weird to think of this as a comic book movie, but yeah, I guess it is, right?
Yeah, it is. So, yeah, check it out. It's worth watching at least once. I think I could watch this once every other year.
And I definitely am going to go dig up Dark City again just because, just from the visuals alone, I remember that it looked awesome.
You know, they had a copy of Dark City on VHS at that Game Swap place.
Oh, yeah, man. That might, I don't know, see that movie, though, I think if I could dig up a better version, I'd go for it because I'm really just watching it for the visuals anyway.
So, that said, this has been The Crow on the Prison Wallets podcast, and this is our love letter to movies. I'm Keith. I did that again. That's the second time. Holy shit. I'm Ray. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Bora Hioro. That's BOURAHIORO. The number 77, and as well we are, and Keith is on.
I guess it's just keithcourage.com. I got all my info is there,
so you can download the podcast directly from keithcourage.com, or you can find us on iTunes.
Yeah, maybe give us a sweet review or something.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great. Rate us, review us, let it, like, tell your friends. Tell your enemies. If you don't like it, tell your enemies. And, you know, I mean, we like that publicity.
Yeah, we don't need you. We'll take your enemies.
So we're also on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter, where we are at Podcast Prison, and Instagram, we are Prison Wallets Pod. So go check us out, rate us, review us. Again, we appreciate all constructive criticism, good or bad. I really don't give a fuck. Just whatever. Go check it out. And that said, this is it. Another episode in the can. We will see you in a month.
And go fuck yourselves. Was that it?
No. It's fuck you all.
Damn it.
Try again. Do it again. Do it again. Do over.
Fuck you, Ray.
No, man. Again. Fuck you all.
Nothing is trivial.